Hi all, I'm Wenbai. Lately, the Bitcoin market has been volatile with rapid fluctuations and a fast pace of change happening. In such a market, if you want to trade, you must pay attention to several patterns. I've shared Heart of Dusk video in previous ep, and in this ep, I'll share video related to Heart of Involvement. In reality, it possesses a similar charm to the Heart of Dusk. Some of their meanings are similar at times, but their forms have slight variations and subtle differences that distinguish them from each other. Now let's explain the meaning of the heart that is involved, which is the trend reversal, the reversal signal. And here are a few common forms of it, which everyone should pay attention to and be mindful of. During decline, it's commonly called heart involvement, also known as inverted head. Pituitary gland resembles this, but heart involvement resembles this. Do you think this scene is similar to when ancient cities were under attack and you were on the city wall shooting arrows at the enemy? This candlestick with this kind of pattern gives me a very similar feeling. Of course, it is also related to its name. The bottom part of it is a bit like the feathers of an arrow, so if you remember it like this, it will be easy to understand. That's how I understood it as a white rabbit. We've discussed heart morphology, so let's keep dissecting and explaining. Heart involvement occurs at the market top with a longer previous line. Its entity is small. The first line is twice the entity, or even more. Usually, no second line, or the second line is very short. Concerning color, it can be dark or bright, but this doesn't impact its status as a top signal line. Pay attention, if there was a clear upward trend before, if the involvement occurs at a high level, there is a greater possibility of a market decline. If the next candlestick is a solid candlestick that can engulf or swallow the previous hammer, then its reference value is even greater. If it appears with Dusk's heart, the top signal is more reliable. If you haven't seen Heart of Twilight, click upper right corner to check it out. Don't be lazy. Bear excels at studying, cow is us, take off directly. The technical meaning of heart's role in a downturn market is to look down after the top signal. These pictures are all about some variations of the heart. Then it can be a little bigger in size. You see these two are a little bigger. Can leave shadow, but shadow should be shorter. Upper shadow should be longer, which is 2 or more times solid part. The higher the value, the stronger the reversal signal. It can also be a relatively flat entity. In summary, the upper shadow must be long enough and it's okay for the flat to have some lower shadow. And this one, what does it resemble? We learned it in the previous lesson. It's similar to the Heart of Dusk. Avoid confusion. One is misleading. I have prepared a table for everyone. This table shows the similarities and differences between the Heart of Involvement and the Heart of Dusk that I carefully compiled. What about the two? They both appear in the rising trend or at the end of the rising cycle. It is a top signal. However, the Twilight Heart is a combination of the K line, which is composed of at least 3 K lines in total. If the first one is a positive line, the second one is a cross heart, and the third one is a negative line to establish. About the heart, it's different. The heart is like a candlestick seen at the top, and one is sufficient. It is not a candlestick pattern, it is just a single candlestick. Another similarity is that whether it is a cross heart or an involved heart, as long as it appears at the top, regardless of its color, it is not very important. To make a difference, the Twilight Heart generally has relatively short upper and lower shadows, which are some of its common forms. Its edge morphology can also have a relatively long upper shadow, but generally its upper shadow is slightly longer when involved. This can also make subtle distinctions. The next part of the film will be divided and explained in terms of the concepts and their application in practical situations. Now let's combine practical experience to observe how the actual market demonstrates to us the signal of a downtrend through the K line. Lately, Bitcoin has had incidents, and they have occurred frequently due to the recent market situation characterized by rapid fluctuations and volatility. Soon, then you come and take a look. First, let's examine this candlestick in early October, which is actually a slightly standard design star. First of all, it meets the first point. It has a longer upper shadow, a smaller body, and not much lower shadow. This is a bearish line, and it also appeared in a prior uptrend that occurred before the current market conditions. The end of the upward trend, if such a form arises, is likely to signal a top everyone must pay heed. And in the event that the subsequent candlestick completely engulfs the preceding one, then this particular pattern, known as a shooting star, satisfies the conditions we have established. Let's combine and take a look at the volume below. The relationship between volume and price cannot be separated from the candlestick chart, just like the throttle. The more throttle you give, the more powerful it feels. That's the meaning. Check, this candlestick has high volume, so the K line above also indicates stronger upward momentum. Actually, it's the same when applying it in rankings. So it's not hard to trade a candlestick chart. Just listen carefully in class, especially my videos. They will definitely educate you. First candlestick appeared with bearish force, starting to exert itself in this 4-hour period. This 4H house hasn't reached the real step of pressing the accelerator. It hasn't pressed the accelerator yet. Then it stepped on accelerator last 2K lines. We see upper, lower shadows highly exaggerated. What does this represent? It represents that the bulls and bears are still fighting here, and both sides are still fighting here. The bulls initially arrived, then bears pushed it down after bulls reached this position, leaving behind this kind of entity shadow. So it was also mentioned in the video that the longer the upper shadow, the stronger the bearish momentum and the more reliable the actual top signal. This appeared at the start of the month, and we can see that it has also appeared recently. So recently there has also been a shooting incident which happened around October 7th. Let's break it down and explain it in detail. First and foremost, what appears here? This is the heart of dusk. If the heart of dusk appears simultaneously with the heart of shooting, the possibility of a situation change will greatly increase. Since K-line can be split and combined, you have the option to merge the last 3 K-lines into a single piece, thereby transforming it into a smaller. The small referendum K-line also meets the form of the evening star. Now let's talk about design star. After the appearance of twilight star, design star is also considered a relatively standard form. First, it has a long upper shadow. The body is short and the lower shadow is relatively brief. Appearing at the end of an uptrend, this is a reversal signal. If you have already acquired this knowledge, you can fully attempt to establish your own short position when you observe this signal and take note of this signal. So you can get 5% profit even here. If you look at 10 times leverage, it's a 50% return. Isn't it very attractive? Let's take another group of examples. In the early morning hours of August 9th, 23 years, there were also 2 appearances of design star. Let's zoom in and examine. We can see that it is typical and appears at the end of a rising market trend. It's also a hammer with a reversed head, longer upper shadow, shorter body, and shorter lower shadow, making it a powerful tool in trading. The uptrend is still an uptrend here. You can think of these 2 multiple heads as a process of approaching it together and climbing up towards its last time. Then what happened next? Another design star appeared here, surpassing the opening and closing prices of the previous candlestick. Then there was a wave of decline. Let's observe the magnitude of the decline. Wow, this drop is extremely sharp. It has decreased by nearly 20 points. If you had already acquired knowledge of these, then this surge of 200% profit would undeniably belong to you. Let's take another look. On the 29th of May 23 at approximately 8 o'clock, a design star also made an appearance just the same as before. It shows up at the conclusion of an uptrend, and then the subsequent candlestick of this design star shows up next, which is also the engulfing and wrapping of the preceding one. Engulfing and wrapping means falling below it, recovery position lower than the previous one. Then there were also bearish candles that appeared subsequently, and due to the decline in the market, this particular dip also resulted in a profit of 100 points. If you enter the market now and intervene with your short position, Xiaowei welcomes you to make a chant for everyone. The star of design, the line projection is like a bow and arrow, and the upward trend is the signal line for short selling. I hope it can aid you in remembering. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more information and if you want this PPT, feel free to join my discount community. Use link below video to trigger. Jigget spot contract has strong supply. No doubt algo trading is effective. Binance waives commissions up to 45. Welcome all to use the link for lifetime commission rebate chance.